Hey guys, Kami here. I am popping on today to talk about being triggered and responding from your highest of selves. I'm going to give a couple of minutes to let some folks join before I get started. So say hi. Hey sister. Again, I'm popping on to talk about being triggered. So let's get started. So many of you I have met through this beautiful Facebook group called Soul Sisters, right? I love it. And I have a habit of every once in a while popping onto Soul Sisters, maybe on a Saturday night when I'm kind of bored and alone, but I'll pop on and I'll read posts and I'll just kind of drop some divine wisdom or try to help another sister out, right, with their problems. And so a couple of nights ago, I was cruising through Soul Sisters and I came across a post, and it was a photograph of a page from the Bible, okay? And it had been, some of the verses had been, I don't think verses is the right word, but some of the words had been underlined and circled, and I was like, and so I read the circled lines and I thought, I wonder what this post is about. I don't quite get it from the picture, and I was fairly open to it. I'm really trying to work around Christ consciousness, which is a whole different topic. So again, I saw this picture of the Bible and some stuff, and so I scrolled up and I wanted to read what the text was to help me to understand why this person had posted this photo of the Bible. Scroll up, and the text was just a bunch of phrases and quotes from the Bible. There was nothing really around it or anything like that. And so I thought, well, I'm going to scroll down and look at the comments. Maybe somebody can make sense of this for me because I don't understand what the post is about, right? But I want to. So I look at the comments, and there was only about 5 or 6 comments on there, and every single comment was nasty. It was nasty. These ladies were like cussing out the poster, saying horrible things, and I found myself starting to get really triggered too. And so this is what I want to talk to you guys about, is the triggering that we're going through right now. And so I paused to reflect around this, not only all of these other people being very triggered by this picture from the Bible in Soul Sisters, but also myself and my own reaction. And what I realized in this pause, because I really wanted to fire something back, right? But I realized in this pause is that I'm never going to elevate myself if I continue to allow triggers to cause a response from a lower place, right? Like all of the other commenters, they had responded from a lower place, right? And I'm never going to elevate myself if I continue to respond from these lower places. Guess what, guys? I'll just stay in that lower place, right? And I'm tired of that. So I wanted to come on today and talk to you about what is a trigger and what can you do to work through things when you find yourself triggered. Aloha, Olsen. So a trigger is anything that flares up a negative response in you. And that negative response could be an emotion, a thought, an action. It's a disruption to your usual self, right? That's what a trigger is. But on a bigger sense, guys, a trigger is really an indication of a wound that you're carrying that you need to examine and heal. And so in this case, for me, when I was looking at that sort of, again, the Bible phrases and stuff like that on Soul Sisters, that was obviously a wound for me still around my Christianity. I grew up, I went to Catholic school, and when I was done with that, I kind of sort of bounced around amongst Christianity, found myself in Methodism for a while. But so I still obviously had a wound there, right? So what can you do when you're triggered? What can you do? So 3 easy steps, guys. First of all, the first step is, what exactly is triggering me? What was triggering me? And so I thought about that and sort of looking at my example around that post with the Bible and Soul Sisters. What was triggering me was just the very, very rigidity of the phrases and the quotes. And I felt very forced upon, just like I kind of did as a kid in Christianity. And so then you need to ask yourself, so that's step 1. What is triggering me? What is this? Is this lady that's cut me off? Is because I didn't plan enough time for myself? What is the trigger, right? And the next step to dealing with the trigger is to ask yourself, why is this triggering me? So what is it? Why is it? So going back to my example of the religious post on Soul Sisters, asking myself why that triggered me, it's because I had designated this Facebook group, Soul Sisters, as sort of my woo-woo safe place, right? And for me, that means no organized religion. That's what I had designed in my mind. I thought that's what it should be. So that's why I was triggered, because somebody just like brought that to my face. So the third thing is, so again, step one is what's triggering me? That post triggered the hell out of me. Why is that triggering me? Because I had decided that was my safe space, right? Maybe that was her safe space too. The last step around this is to say to yourself, what is the wound that I need to heal here? So what is this trigger saying I need to heal? And for me, I stepped back and I realized I still have a lot of work to do around religious programming. Not only the stuff that I received as a kid and, going to church and things like that, but also I've seen so much pain from religious programming with all of you. A lot of my clients have just been pained and held back and not really become them true selves because of religious programming. So that's really the wound that I needed to heal. So again, that's sort of the 3-stepper to dealing with the trigger. What's triggering me? Exactly. Get real honest with yourself. Why is it triggering me, right? What's the feeling? What's it making me want to do? What does it remind me of? And what's the wound that I need to heal with, or I need to heal, right? So that's how you identify and work with the trigger. The best thing that you can do, though, in response to a trigger is not to respond back to that trigger from that lower place, right? We want to choose the highest version of ourselves to respond to a trigger. And so in the example that I gave you guys around the post that really triggered me, once I understood what it was, I responded to that post very plainly and I said, this is really triggering me. Obviously, I felt this was my safe space and I'm feeling encroached upon by religious stuff, right? And so I said to the original poster, thank you. I can see now that I really need to work around this religious programming. So thank you for bringing this to my attention, right? And so that's the way that we choose to respond from our highest place. I'm not going to give you that lower energy back that you triggered in me. I'm going to respond to that with that higher energy. Okay, guys? So again, triggering, what's triggering you? Why is it triggering you? What's the wound? And respond from that higher space. Okay, guys? I can see I have a couple of questions here. So please post if you have any questions around triggering. Good to see everybody. I'm going to kind of just scroll through and give us a couple of minutes and answer anything that comes up. Hey, Steph. Hi, Rachel. Hey, Sissy. Hey, Sonia. How sweet. Hey, Martha. Martha said she was just on my website. Ta-da, I have one, huh? And opened my Facebook, and here I am. Must be, Martha, must be. Hey, Jessie, Carmen. Hi, Suzanne. Aloha, Olson. Hi, Lisa. I'm good, thank you. Hi, Rada. Suzanne says, I try to remember to ask myself, why is this pissing me off? What about it is pissing me off? That's right. Like, you got to get honest with yourself and say, what is it exactly? Let's get real here, right? Lisa says, need to know what's going on with your love life. So Lisa, I'm not doing readings right now. Sissy says, in the past couple of months, she's been working on her triggers. She's been figuring them out and explaining them. Oh, good. To your others. That's awesome. So happy that I'm bringing it up. Yeah, so Sissy, I think it's really wonderful too when we kind of can, once we identify what's triggering us and we can express that to those around us. Not necessarily so that they can not trigger us, although that's a lovely world, right, and lovely idea, but more so that they can know, hey, you may get an icky response and I'm working through this. So it's wonderful that you have these conversations. Plus it just really reinforces for you guys, especially Sissy, that you are working and that you are triggered and you are human. And so it reinforces your commitment to working through your triggers and to responding from that higher space, right? Sylvia says, are triggers only negative? I don't know. That's a great question. I'm sort of shuffling through right now, trying to think about if I've had Any positive triggers? I would say that the outcomes of triggers, if you really work through them, are positive. But in my personal experience, things that have triggered me have really triggered me into dark places. So again, perhaps working through your triggers will bring some positive outcomes, but those triggers for me have all been super dark, right? So hi, Kim. Hi, Lisa. Any other questions? I'm going to give us another minute or so. Any other questions on triggers and responding from your highest self? Anything else, guys? We're wrapping up the week. Halloween next week. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close this chat up. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope that you had a wonderful day. Lots of love.